Hey nerds, welcome to Supergirl, Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. So Supergirl was finally back from its mid-season hiatus, and we started off with a pretty great episode. There was a lot of humor, a lot of references, and we got a bigger picture as to what's going on with the show for the rest of the season. So starting off, I just want to address the stuff revolving around Guardian, and specifically the Guardian Supergirl fight that Kara and James always have. It's getting pretty annoying. Something with that needs to change. That's just my opinion. But on top of that, I just don't feel like the show knows what they want to do with James. He's supposed to be Kat's head of the company right now. While she's off, he's supposed to be running it, and yet he's finding ways to be a lowly reporter. He's just, it feels like they don't know what to do with him. That being said, hopefully we will get something more coming from the character of Guardian, but at this point, the episode was great except for the Guardian stuff. Moving on. The science fiction references that we got this week. There was a bunch, but specifically we got a ton for Stargate and Star Trek. In Stargate, first of all, Wynn literally comes into that big open warehouse and calls it a Stargate. But then for the second half of the episode, he is playing the role of Daniel Jackson. He's the reluctant scientist that is there. He goes through because they need him to open the gate from the other side. I'm a big fan of Stargate, so I loved this whole sequence. We also, when Alex picks up the alien gun and shoots it, this is very reminiscent of an early episode in the series of Stargate, season 1, where Jack picks up an alien kind of handgun like that and has a very similar reaction about how excited he is to have it. So those moments for me were really great. And then Star Trek, of course. The entire episode, Wynn is also talking about how he's not the red shirt, how he was scared he was going to be the red shirt, and then he wasn't. Those were great, but the fight he had with the Dorian was very similar to Kirk's battle with the Gorn. So just all the parallels there were really fun and really well thought out. Next. MonEl. At this point, is there anyone who doesn't think he is the prince? It's pretty obvious to me, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious to everyone that he is the prince. He's lying about that. And he just is ashamed of it because of the reputation that the Daxamites had, specifically with Kryptonians, but also just in the universe at large. We're going to find out he was lying about the story about how the prince put him in the pod. I think it's going to be the opposite way around, where his servant is actually the one that made him get in the pod, and so that he would get out. But how does this apply to the comics? We've talked about MonEl a little bit, but there's a character in the comics that went by the name MonEl, and I think we're going to start to see that storyline play out. Now, MonEl was the name that was given to a Daxamite who crashed on Earth and lost his memory. He was essentially adopted in every case by either Superboy or Superman because they didn't know who he was, but evidence pointed to him possibly being Kryptonian. In all cases, it played out fine, but he wanted to help. He wanted to be a hero, and would eventually go on to take a costume, like we've heard MonEl wants to do, to honor Superman. And this is a big deal. And in most cases of the version of his story, at some point he gets poisoned by lead. Daxamites, lead is very toxic to them. It's a poison that actually can't be cured or removed from their system. So after being poisoned, he was put into the Phantom Zone to try and to wait it out, because time doesn't pass in the Phantom Zone. So he was put there to wait it out until a cure could be found. Now later in the 30th century, the Legion would bring him out to help, and Brainiac 5 actually found an antidote for him so that he could take it and be a member of the League, or the Legion. So I think we're going to see this. We're going to see him get his costume, and we're going to see him be a hero, but at some point he is going to take, sacrifice himself for Kara or for the team or for somebody, and prove himself, but then he will be kind of put into the Phantom Zone in order to stave off dying. I think that's the direction his storyline is going, and it seems pretty clear that it's a very redeeming arc for him, especially coming from who he really is and what he was doing on Daxamite to get this hero's journey where he's got this redemption arc is pretty significant for him. So I'm excited to see that. The Dorians. these aliens, they don't really come necessarily from the comics. I couldn't find any alien race by the name of Dorians. If I missed it, just let me know in the comments. But one thing that is interesting about this, if you've seen Young Justice, what we see playing out here, and especially when the Dominator appears, is stuff similar to Season 2. When the Krolatoans and then the Reach were on Earth, they were kidnapping humans to experiment on. And the Maldorians were kidnapping humans to sell them, and we know that there was a Dominator there, and he was buying them all up. Now, if you remember from the Invasion Major crossover, they were testing humans and experimenting on them to see if the metagene was prevalent on Earth. So I think we're seeing something similar here. How is this going to play out? Hard to say, because obviously we don't know exactly what's going on. We did get definite confirmation that the Dominator recognized MonEl as royalty, but I think what's going to happen is more people are going to be kidnapped by the Dominators. They're going to keep appearing, and we're going to see some sort of metabomb or metagene explosion, and more people with powers are going to emerge, and we're going to get a kind of a boom of sorts of superpowers. But that's kind of what I think is happening and where this is going. What do you guys think? Who do you think those mysterious aliens are that are hunting MonEl? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and don't forget to check out all the past episodes of Theories and Conspiracies, and we've got more coming this week because the rest of the CW shows are back, but also Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is continuing strong. So until next week, guys, this has been Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd, and this has been Supergirl, Theories and Conspiracies.